I don't know about you, but I really don't like how big early access has become, especially on Steam. It's like browsing that section is legit 80% survival games, 10% roguelikes, 5% RPG Maker, and the remainder are just games that you should actually play. It's really frustrating because there are so many great ideas in early access titles and games, and even the whole idea of it, but it's like none of them are executed properly. So here's a list of a few games in early access that are totally worth playing and keeping an eye on. Enjoy. If you know anything about the ocean, you should know it's absolutely terrifying. Sure, on the surface you'll find dolphins and starfish and all manner of happy creatures, but if you go deeper, you'll find all sorts of scary and unmentionable things. That being said, Subnautica takes place in an alien ocean and it's super spooky. The first time I was attacked at night in the ocean, I screamed. I was done. There's too much nope in this ocean for me to handle. And surely the most interesting thing about the gameplay is the environment you play in. The game has depth. You build an underwater base as you explore an alien ocean. There are vehicles that you can create, weapons, bases, and more. When 99% of survival games are mediocre or worse, Subnautica is the 1% that actually deserves a chance. I bought Shopkeep on a whim when it was on sale, probably about 6 months ago, and honestly I'm glad I kept it. It's turned into this fantastic little game. There's really nothing else like it on the market. You own a medieval shop and you have to manage inventory, shrink, and even defend yourself against barbarian raids. I come back to this game every few months to find a slew of new features and concepts. It's honestly super fun. And I'll tell you right now, if you ever try to lift from my shop, I swear to Gagmazios, I will end you. In fact, if you've ever worked in retail, you'll immediately recognize some of the more infuriating aspects of this game. People will come in, see your fair prices, and immediately throw a hissy fit and throw things on the ground, leaving you to pick them up. There's even perks that you can get through experience that will change the temperament of your customers, their likelihood to steal from you, unlock new customers such as warriors and mages, unlock new tiers of items that you can make and buy. The closest game I could really think of that has a shop system like this is a game called Resetear. But that game was kinda eh. I'd recommend taking a look at Shopkeep if you think it sounds fun. Project Zomboid has been around for a very long time. I remember hearing about it probably 5 years ago or 6 years ago back on a platform called Dazura, if that's still even a thing. Basically, it was like an indie version of Steam, I guess, but I'm not really sure if Project Zomboid will ever leave early access. Because the point is, the developers, IndieStone, have created such a realistic zombie simulator that there's always something new to add and tweak. I mean, it's probably as realistic as it's going to get with this game. There's massive crafting system, there's a skill point system, there's farming and barricades, and there's even emotional trauma that your character will have to deal with. So, your character might get bored, or they might be panicked if you get bitten by a zombie. I mean, who wouldn't? It's kind of like the point of the game is not so much if you'll die, but when you're gonna die. Of course, if you're like me, you'll end up drinking bleach and watching yourself shrivel up and die within a few hours. There are a lot of zombie games out there, most of them are mediocre, but Project Zomboid is not one of them. It's probably one of the most engrossing if you can get behind the isometric visuals. There's also a multiplayer mode so you can play with friends, and there's Steam Workshop support, so the game can be tweaked as you desire. I've been watching Secretsick Renea for far too long. The developer's Pixel Ferret has made astounding progress on it since it began. I've even made a video on it a long time ago when it was first available to purchase. It's essentially Secret of Mana, but expanded with more skills, enemies, and online gameplay. It's not even close to being complete right now, but there are plenty of dungeons and side quests to go through, and an endlessly playable arcade mode right now. And there's just some great dialogue and music. And Secretsick Renea is pretty much just awesome. One of my favorite parts of the game is actually the writing. Your companion is basically a very sarcastic bag of holding. He cracks me up so bad. The combat really reminds me of those old school action RPGs on the Super NES, and there's even a huge skill tree system with specializations for melee, magic, and utility. Renea is just a really wonderful romp through a magical world, and the developers are also really cool. They post weekly development updates along with really great pixel art and the thought processes they take regarding the game. I know what you're thinking. Rimworld? What is it, and why does it sound kinda dirty? Well, it's a strategy and resource management game where you run and control a colony on an alien planet. Currently, it's not on Steam and it's distributed through its own website, and for $30, it's a tad pricey, but it is a hell of a game. You can pretty much do anything you want with regards to your colony. If you get attacked by bandits or the local population, you can take prisoners and starve them, or convince them to try to join you. Or if you're sick, you could harvest their organs for your wounded. Like this guy, he doesn't need eyeballs. Who needs eyeballs? Or turn them into a flesh hat, which is only kind of messed up. But yeah, Rimworld is one of my favorite indie games out right now. The last update added tameable animals and all sorts of really neat things. On my base I have a huge freezer to keep all of my food in, and next to it I have a small room for prisoners. I've been trying to convince this person to join me for days, but she just refuses. Well, let's see what she does when she doesn't get any food. Actually, I'm not that mean. She will cave eventually. I hope. Now for the honorable mentions, I picked a few games that just came out of early access that I personally really love, but I couldn't include them officially in the list because they're out of early access. Grib Down is the spiritual successor to Titan Quest, albeit with a much more grim and dark tone. This game is content complete and basically out of early access, so I decided not to include it in the list. I couldn't help not mentioning it though, so here's an awesome action RPG with loads of loot. It's set in a fantasy world ravaged by plague and monsters and demons, so there are some really interesting classes here and a perk system that uses constellations to give you unique advantages. It kind of reminds me of Path of Exile, except it's not free to play. Despite being in early access for a long time and just releasing not too long ago, I'm kicking myself for not picking it up earlier because Prison Architect has filled a void in my life that I didn't know I had. Nearly everything in this game is entertaining and interesting, from laying out the prison to reading my inmates' crimes to panicking when there's a riot and accidentally clicking on the fire truck instead of the SWAT team. You need to play this game. And it even has a really, really good story. Imagine it, a game like this with a story worth investing yourself in. Prison Architect is just an amazing game, and it's really one of my favorites that I've played in the past couple years. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I appreciate all the support you've given me. Despite all the negativity, there are some decent early access games out there worth supporting. Maybe you could leave a comment with your own list of indie or early access games that you like. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please smash that thumbs up button, and maybe the subscribe button too if you feel like it. Thanks for watching, everyone. My name is Game Taco, and I will see you all next time. Peace.